Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and especially honored guests. I admire brevity in language, assuming the language is still rich in meaning. For example, my friend Henry and I have an ongoing challenge about the fewest number of words we can use to order breakfast at our usual spot. Henry has it down to 4. Number 1, easy, wheat. With that as an inspiration, I shall now describe my life in 45 words. Pocatello, 1 brother, 1 sister. Unremarkable public schooling, bachelor's and master's in business. Started basics 15 years ago. Provide services to health insurers. Married, 2 boys, divorced, remarried, 5 total, 23 to 26. Kim is an RN, works at Huntsman Cancer. Enjoy anything outdoors. This is factual but hardly satisfying. In fact, it reminds me of an Ole and Lena joke. Ole and Lena are good Norwegian farm folks, which means they are both frugal with money and words. After a wonderful life together, Ole passes on. Lena calls the local paper to file an obituary and asks how much it costs. The answer, $5 a word. Lena thinks for a moment and says, "Write this, Ole died, Volvo for sale." Although Lena only used 5 words, those spoke volumes about both her and Ole. My wife suggested a novel way to introduce myself indirectly by discussing and explaining a couple of the sayings that I enjoy. Consider this saying, "There you go." I wasn't aware I used this so much until our daughter Amy said, "Gee, you say 'there you go' all the time. You know, what does it mean?" Now, by way of background, Amy is a very earnest young lady. Things need to make sense, they need to be in order, linear, everything fits. One of my great joys in life is teaching our children, but in an indirect way, and also a way that encompasses humor. So I said, "Gee, Amy, to someone that grew up in Idaho, 'there you go' is a lot like aloha to someone that grew up in Hawaii. It has many meanings depending on the circumstance. So some meanings are easy to understand. There you go. I agree. Good job. Some meanings of 'there you go' take years of cultural study to correctly interpret. 'There you go' means I would love to go fishing, but I need to go to work. Good luck. Or consider the depth of the meaning in the simple word 'really'. On its own, 'really' doesn't mean much. Doesn't explain much about me either unless you know the story behind 'really'. My friend Steve, Jim, and I were on a motorcycle ride from Boise north through Idaho to the Canadian border. We had 700 miles to go in 6 days. Now you might ask yourself, how do you spend 700 miles in 6 days on a motorcycle trip? The reason that we were spending that much time is we only had 35 miles out of the 700 miles of road that were paved. It was all dirt and back road tracks. We were sitting in a restaurant in Chalice talking to the owner about our trip, about halfway through. We explained the next leg required us to go up an abandoned dirt road just out of town. The owner sat back and said, "Really?" Well, the word "really" spoken in this context to someone from Idaho means, "Fellas, that doesn't sound like a good idea. If you're of a mind to listen, I might have a couple thoughts for you." Idahoans are too polite to question other people's judgment explicitly. One questions judgment, especially about the manly arts of trip planning and motorcycling, with an abundance of charity and caution. The restaurant owner responded in deep cultural Idahoan, meaning, "I'll throw out the correct physical and verbal cues and see if they respond. If they do respond, I'll go ahead and explain. If they don't, I'll just let them go because clearly they're either competent and they'll make it, or they're incompetent and I'll have an opportunity to increase their competence." As it turned out, the road was just passable, but only because a crowd of retired fellows in an ATV club were a couple hours ahead of us and cleared out a number of downed trees with their chainsaws. I love ideas and discussion and contrary thinking. In my future speeches, I will embrace controversial topics. In fact, I dare say I will shock, surprise, and embarrass you. That was the favorite saying of my boss at the National Labor Relations Board, where I did an internship in 1980, back when internships were actually paid. And with that, Mr. Toastmaster, there you go.